Do you ever find yourself in the middle of a shoot or bogged down in post thinking, I shouldn't be doing this, why did I even take this job? Well, I see a lot of filmmakers take the wrong projects for the wrong reasons all the time. So in this video, I'm going to show you a simple, ruthless filter you can run before every project so that you stop wasting time on the wrong jobs and start building a career you're actually proud of. And you're going to like it because it's fast, it's easy, and it removes a ton of stress from deciding which projects to take. But to start, we need to understand what most filmmakers are doing and why the way that they're choosing how to take gigs is actually sabotaging their careers. The old way sounds like this. It might lead to something. I don't want to burn a bridge. Well, it doesn't pay super well, but at least it pays something. Basically, you just say yes to whatever comes along and deal with the consequences later. Don't get me wrong, I used to take projects the same way, but there's a much better system. And since I switched to this new strategy, I have worked way fewer projects I don't want to be on, earned more money, and my reels have just gotten better and better as a result. The system I've been using boils down to 5 questions. That's it. No debating with potential clients, no rationalizing my rate to friends and family, just a simple framework to hold myself accountable. Let's walk through it. Question 1, which has to do with directional value. Does this progress my career in the direction I want to be moving? A client of mine once entered a call saying, by the way, I saw your new reel. Congrats, it looks like you're super busy. I'll make sure I pass your name along next time that someone's looking for some corporate video work. And I thought, wait a minute, I don't want more corporate video work. I want commercial and narrative work. And then I looked back at my reel and it dawned on me. All the commercial work I had been doing brought in a lot of corporate job inquiries, which I took because they were well paid. But by putting more of the corporate work into my reel, I kind of became known as the corporate video guy. Since that conversation, I have not put a single corporate video in any of my reels. Have high paid corporate projects still come in since then? Absolutely. Which brings us to question number 2. Does the budget meet or exceed my minimum rate? This is non-negotiable. This is what you need to survive. If you're taking on an unpaid project just for the hopes of getting exposure or building goodwill with a client, then congratulations. You've just secured future work which will be unpaid for exposure and more goodwill with that client. And that's why the work for exposure or goodwill approach just isn't a winning strategy, it's gambling. And the house, in this case, the non-paying client, always wins. Now, does this mean that you're a fool if you ever take an underpaid job? Well, not really. In fact, I cut clients crazy deals all the time. And that's because of question number 3. Does this client respect my boundaries and my process? Basically, is the client looking for an actual collaborator to work with and build something new, unique, interesting that will help both of you? Or do they just want a crew member to micromanage? I once had a client that was adamant on paying me union standard rates as a director of photography, even though it was a non-union out-of-pocket passion project. Now, his client ended up being so meticulous and knew so specifically exactly where he wanted the camera to be, how high it should be off the ground, which lenses to use for every frame, every single camera motion, that I didn't really have much photography to direct. By the end of the project, none of the footage looked like anything that I would have shot or lit. So I basically told him, look, I appreciate your clarity of vision, but in the future, you should probably just hire a camera operator and save yourself the money. Now, clients will often show you what it's going to be like to work with them during these early conversations, and learning how to spot those red flags early will save you so much headache and so much pain during and after a project. Which brings us to the most important question to ask in relation to the client, which is question number 4. Is the turnaround realistic without me having to do extra work beyond the scope we originally agreed to? Now, urgency is fine, but chaos is not. If a project only works because it requires you to give up your personal life to accomplish it, then the cost is already so much more than what the rate covers. As I was moving out of my own one-man band phase and into building my production company around myself as a cinematographer, I made the mistake of taking on a project with a client who was a writer, director, producer, and actor all in one. And I thought, this is great. This guy knows how to do everything, including editing. Just add camera guy and gear, right? Well, it turns out I was the only one who knew anything about blocking, lighting, sound mixing, color grading, and so on. What seemed like a slam dunk weekend shoot turned into weeks of answering questions about how to ingest footage, sync sound, and when the heck to use a J cut or an L cut. And this is a situation you never want to be in, wasting all of your time and energy working on a project that simply never ends, or bailing on a client in need and seeing an absolutely unwatchable passion project come out with your name plastered all over it. But you still may want to take on even these huge pain in the ass projects because of the most important question of all. Does this project force me to learn or master a new and valuable skill? Not just an IMDb credit, not just for a recommendation, but an actual new skill that you can leverage immediately to get better work. Answer each of those 5 questions with a simple yes or no. Each yes is a 1, each no is a 0. Any score between 0 and 2 is a hard pass. This is a job that's going to erode your income, your morale, and your reputation. If a project score is a 3 out of 5, it could be a yes, but proceed with extreme caution. Make sure that you're super clear on your terms and that you have very, very clearly defined boundaries. And any project that scores a 4 or higher is a definite green light. This is a project that's going to align with a strategy that will actually advance your career in a way that you want for your future growth. There's no need to overthink this, it's just basic math, adding ones until it makes sense to move forward. And that's what strategic filmmaking looks like, a sustainable career with more control over your life and livelihood. But how much should you be charging for your time and equipment? Watch this video next and I'll walk you through step by step exactly how to build an awesome invoice that will have clients happily paying your rate without pushing back.